Originally, Tom wanted to shoot this for real on the actual train.
Of course he did.
Yeah. And then like he talked to the governments, I think it was France, and they're like, no.
How dangerous that is.
They're like, no, you can't do that. What are you, nuts? Hey there, action fans. We are back. Welcome to Athan in Action. I'm your host, Athan Bao, here with
Peter. I did the guns.
Okay, let's jump into it. We got Mission Impossible, directed by Brian De Palma, cinematography by Stephen H. Burren. My writing is kind of sorry. Second unit director Ernest Day. Second unit director Ernest Day and Eric Schwab. Stunt coordinator is Greg Powell.
Aaron Schwab.
First scene we got the Langley Heist.
Go into it, Mr. New Yorker.
The setup. Disavowed IMF agent Ethan Hunt agrees to help arms dealer Max. He recruits two other disavowed agents. They infiltrate the CIA building to obtain the knock list. Do you know what the knock list is?
Like it's a list of all the undercover or like secret agents around the world, basically. So
it's the plot of Skyfall.
yeah, exactly.
Okay.
This is where it all started, man. This is where it all started.
Got it. This scene came out in 1996.
Mm-hmm.
And I've seen this scene countless times. Literally every time I watch this scene, I get anxiety.
Do you? Yeah. Yeah, so do I. Just the way it's edited, the way it's writing, like obviously it's Brian De Palma. Like we don't have to talk
Master.
about his resume or whatever. But the whole silence of the scene it's so loud. Like the silence is loud.
They kind of try to remake the scene in subsequent movies. The only scene that's similar recently that I can think of is The Irishman, where they have to kill Pacino.
Oh,
Hoffa.
So you're talking about the end?
Yes.
Oh,
No music.
yeah.
Tension.
Man, and the build up, because like that's what's so great about this is the build up. Like I love a heist sequence in any kind of movie, and when you do it well, I'm just like transfixed where like I forget everything that's around me, and I'm just like looking at the screen and I'm soaking everything in, and I felt that way while I was watching this. Just everything that was kind of building up and all the kind of little moving pieces around to set everything. It was like a chess game kind of. Yeah, it was masterful. So this came out in 96. De Palma's next, I don't know if De Palma's next movie was Snake Eyes or not.
Yeah, I think it was.
Around the same time frame. But like I felt like he was trying to recreate a little bit of.
Oh no, man, that's just style. Carlito's Way.
I know.
There's so many moments like that. You look at all his filmography; he does this all the time.
Yeah.
He just ratchets up the suspense and he just stretches it out for like 20 minutes.
You're like, what's happening?
No, I still think I'm putting this out right now. This is my favorite Mission Impossible.
Yeah.
I still think it's the best.
Okay. Yeah, it's the most expertly crafted for sure. There's other ones that I may find more entertaining on that level.
Right.
But like from like a filmmaker's perspective or like a film student perspective or anything. Yeah, this is the movie you would want to like kind of study.
It has like a timeless quality about it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like it has aged perfectly. I want to
like wine.
Go into those.
I mean, you look at Mission Impossible 2, it's such a product of the mid 2000s. Even MI3 did not age well either, in my opinion.
No, that felt like a TV movie to me.
TV movie, shaky cam, all that stuff. Mm-hmm. They got it right with 4, 5, and 6.
Oh,
that's
yeah.
when it kind of
everything just from there kind of ramps
leveled
up, and that's where I'm talking about. Like, I love the entertainment aspect of it, but it never kind of like it never really hits you in that kind of level that the first one does.
No. Well, like I said, they it seems like they're always trying to recreate this sequence in subsequent movies. Mm-hmm. It's almost like a remake scene in part 2. He kind of does the same thing. He's got to like jump through top of a building. He's like tied in. Mm. Or even Mission Impossible 6, Fallout, the fight in the washroom. No music, completely silent, white room.
Yeah. Like that one from an action perspective is amazing, but yeah, you don't get all the other kind of aspects of it where like there's that tension building and you're like you're almost like full of anxiety as you're watching it. Like you don't get that kind of stuff, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Out of 5, what do you got for this?
Well, obviously it's 5. It's an amazing sequence. I do have one little nitpick.
Okay.
So when that tech guy comes back into the room and Tom Cruise gets pulled up to the ceiling, that floor is black, completely like almost like a mirror image of the whole room. He's walking in, he's looking down. He can't look up. He can look straight ahead, but even then, if you ever walked anywhere, like your peripheral vision, you would notice shit. You notice a guy hanging from the ceiling with a reflection on the floor. So big kind of nitpick for me, because like the way they filmed it, obviously it's filmed on an angle where like you don't see Tom in the reflection. You see the rest of the room kind of in that black floor reflection. But from his perspective, you would totally see Tom.
You heard about the coin thing, right?
Go on.
So, you know that shot where he's dropping and then he just stops right before he hits the floor?
Yeah.
Did you heard about how he kept hitting his head?
No. I don't know any of this behind the scenes stuff.
So he basically kept hitting his head every time I dropped him.
Really?
Because it was like the rope is on his waist, so he's counterbalanced, so I guess his head is heavier than everything else. Anyways, he kept hitting his head. And so it was Tom that suggested that he puts coins in his shoes to counterbalance the weight. And that's how you get that master shot.
Was that Tom? Like you're saying someone's hitting their head. Is that Tom?
Yes.
Okay, so it was Tom doing everything for that part. Okay.
Yes.
Awesome.
Next up, we got the big finale, the train sequence.
Inner world. Oh, wait, that's you.
The setup. Jim Phelps is revealed to be a traitor. After some masked review hijinks and camera glasses, he tries to escape. Ethan gives chase.
After some massive hijinks.
I don't know, everybody rips off their mask and someone gets shot.
Very, MI. I felt this scene aged pretty well. I don't know how you feel about it. Like I know there's like some certain sequences with CGI and everything like that, but overall the what they were going for as far as like building the tension and the like you really feel the speed of that train.
Yeah.
I don't like the way the wind was blowing and everything and the movements that they were making. Like it's really great acting, but also great like kind of filmmaking because I felt like I was like in that sequence where like, oh god, that wind.
It's also done by ILM, Industrial Light and Magic, Spielberg's company.
Yeah.
And the special effects are so well done that it looks real to me. Like almost so many years later, I'm like, that looks so real.
Mm-hmm. You feel it's kind of been ripped off. Well, obviously, because like if you're good at something, someone's gonna like kind of imitate you or whatever. Like the Wolverine.
Skyfall? Oh yeah,
Skyfall. Well, the Wolverine is the most like, obvious one. But even like in video games, like I felt in Uncharted 2, that whole train sequence was very much like kind of an homage to MI1.
right.
Yeah.
And it seems like they're remaking it in the next one, Mission Impossible 7.
You think so?
There's footage of him fighting on a train.
Oh yeah, because it's just him like hanging out, like no wires,
no
or
harness,
just no
good.
harness. Yeah, that's pretty badass.
So originally, this scene wasn't included in the script.
Oh really?
No, the screenwriters for this movie was hold on, I got it right here. Robert Towne, the legend of Robert Towne, who wrote Chinatown.
Yeah, for sure.
And David Coep, who is a legend in his own right. He wrote Jurassic Park, like a lot of the Spielberg stuff. So Robert Towne was like, we got this big ending set piece of the second act. We don't need the finale. The finale should be like just end right on the train where Claire gets shot and is revealed his shit. He wanted it to be ended right there. Mm-hmm. But David Coep fought for the big finale. He's like, no, we need another banger here.
Yeah.
So luckily he won, and we got this masterpiece.
Yeah.
I read this on the internet, so it's probably true.
Everything on the internet is true.
It's got to be. So this sequence was originally supposed to be for Untouchables.
Untouchables?
Yeah. Brian De Palma wanted this scene for the Untouchables, but he didn't have enough money.
The technology was not available.
I guess so. It just doesn't fit.
How does this go with the... Wow.
Yeah.
It's like a complete 180 tonal shift.
It's weird.
Wow.
But like this set piece was like in his back of his mind,
Yeah.
and he's like, I need to use this. So
Well, thank goodness he did MI then, because it makes sense. I just wanted to bring up one little thing. So it's kind of a little nitpick. So in that sequence, when they're in the tunnel finally, so Tom Cruise is on the train and he jumps onto the helicopter.
right.
Right. There's like kind of like a music cue that kind of kicks up.
Hell
and,
yeah.
And it takes me out of the scene. It's like, what the hell is this?
Like the
This does
twirling.
not fit the tone. Yeah, it's like a thing, something that you would hear like in Indiana Jones or like any kind of Spielberg movie, like Jurassic Park or something. Because this is where the tone is, and then Jurassic Park, Indiana Jones like kicks up kind of here. Like it's cool they go into the MI theme right after that, but yeah, that little part kind of took me out of it.
Originally, Tom wanted to shoot this for real on the actual train.
Of course he did.
Yeah. And then like he talked to the governments, I think it was France, and they're like, no.
How dangerous that is.
They're like, no, you can't do that. What are you, nuts? So because of that, they had to do special effects.
That's crazy, man. 1996. Wow. So he had that like stuntman itch.
Oh,
Back
let me
then,
ask you
right?
this. Like when you watch these scenes,
Okay.
do you get more excited when you see him hang off the train in part 1 versus him hang off an actual plane in part 5?
So if you ignore the whole behind the scenes and how everything is done, the first part is better filmmaking, better. You get a sense of danger more out of it.
Out of part 1?
In my perspective,
Okay.
in my opinion, yeah, in
Yeah.
part 1,
Okay.
I get that more because as great as it is and technical as the part 5 is, it's kind of a boring scene.
A little bit.
How do you feel about it? Like what
Exactly
is
the same.
Same, yeah.
There was so much build up for part 5, him hanging out at the plane, because the internet, you see, you're like, wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, they were really hyping that stuff up. Yeah,
Then it happens, you're like, that's it?
yeah. Like it's amazing from a technical perspective, but on screen it's like,
It just felt like they didn't hang on to the shot long enough. There weren't enough wides showing him on there. He just kept cutting away. That's just my opinion. I'd have to watch it again.
That's true. Yeah.
Back to the train sequence. Out of 5, what do you got? What do you give it?
Train sequence, 4.5. Just that music thing really threw me off, but everything else was like really exciting and really cool.
I give it a 5.
Yep.
I do want to do a ranking Mission Impossible set piece episode eventually.
We're gonna do that.
Spoiler alert. This is my favorite Mission Impossible set piece out of all of them.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
Still my favorite. I still get so excited and amped when I watch it. Like, I gotta do push-ups!
Yeah, I really love how they went like no dialogue. Like I don't know. I feel like movies nowadays, if you get them in like 2010s and in our generation, if they had this sequence, the two guys would like be talking to each other or like doing something like just that makes no sense. And I felt like they really nailed it in this.
Next up, we got ratings and rankings. Rate our hero.
All right.
Ethan Hunt.
Ethan Hunt, Tom Cruise, very first Mission Impossible. I'm gonna start off probably a little low in what your opinion might be. I give him a 3.
Okay.
I didn't like his character very much in this movie. I felt he was very arrogant and like I didn't get a sense of what his character was. Like I know he was in danger the whole time and you know he's got to prove that he's right. But I didn't get a sense of who he was. So I'm starting off with a 3 but I love the character of Ethan Hunt overall though. So
I gave him a 5.
yep. Okay.
Because I don't see this as a Mission Impossible movie.
Mm-hmm.
I see it as a Brian De Palma movie.
Okay.
Where the character is the story. I'm okay if I don't need to know all his backstories, but I do like seeing the situation he's thrusted in. His teammates are killed. He's on the run. And plus it's Brian De Palma. It's got that like sexy spy thriller feel to it, right? There's all this like sexual tones.
Yeah.
And he's kind of like going a little nuts.
Do you get a little bit of a noir tinge to it? Like the way it's kind of shot and everything, like those. Do you get that little sense? Like it's almost like a noir. I know, like noir, like it's not like a noir movie at all, but just that sense, you know.
I always viewed De Palma's movies as Hitchcock movies.
Yeah,
you know, where
pretty much
everything's
everything.
dangerous. You know?
Everything.
Everything's sexy. Also, I really like his haircut. You know what? Let's do it right now. Rate
Johnny Unitas.
Rate his haircut. Rate
In
Ethan,
all the movies?
No, in this one. Rate
In this one?
Tom Cruise's haircut.
It's basic.
I love it. Give it a 5.
It's Johnny Unitas.
I like it. The military. Johnny Unitas. Who's that?
It's from The Simpsons. The guy that Abe Simpson loves, the straight cut guy.
I don't remember.
You don't know sports.
No. I just like it because like him and Keanu, they both kind of did the same thing. They always had wavy hair, but then when they got that crew cut, you're like, ooh, who's this guy? Ooh. Now, another thing I want to say, talking about before we move on. When they decided the Ethan Hunt character, they wanted to make a different type of hero. If you notice, he doesn't use a gun in this one.
Okay. Oh,
They wanted a hero that didn't fire a gun, uses wits. Like he kicks people, like he's athletic, right? But more so beating people with his mind.
And just like using little gadgets or here and there or whatever, yeah.
Yeah, but
just that bomb thing at the end.
But I guess it's more so like the lack of gun use. Because if you watch those film noir movies, those private detective movies, right? They never have a gun. You know? Because they're always in danger because of it. Now, of course, 2 and 3, he's like shooting everybody in the face.
Right off.
Everybody. But if you look at 4, he doesn't use a gun again. And 5,
Bird gets it.
Yeah. Number 5, he does use a gun, but only like at the end, at the very end when he has to.
Yeah.
And number 6, he only uses a gun once when he had to.
It's anytime he's like forced to.
Yeah.
Basically, he like there's no other option.
Yeah, he's like Jackie Chan. He'd rather not.
Yeah. God, he is trying to be Jackie Chan.
Okay, next up we got Rate Our Villain, Jim Phelps.
Jim Phelps. John Voight. Going into this movie, so I had never watched the movie like when it came out originally or whatever. So it was just recently that I actually watched it for the first time. And I guess that kind of paint my bias a little bit towards John Voight is like, oh, he's the villain. I know he's setting this up right away. But I still love him. Still love John Voight. I'll give him 4. He pulls it off pretty well, and he's so like slimy and like.
I watched this in theaters, like as a kid.
Yeah.
John Voight. When I watched it, I was like, he's so old and weak. Him? He beats up Tom Cruise.
That part on the train, yeah, it's a little unbelievable.
Him? I gave him a 2. Side note, when I watched it in theaters, and they did this on purpose, Emilio Estevez, they made they put a familiar character in there to get you attached. You're like, oh, I know this guy, and then they killed him
Right away
to like mess you up. They pulled the Psycho. I remember watching that in theaters. I'm like, no, really? All right, next up we got top 3 badass characters.
Number 3 for you. Who do you got?
Max.
Who's Max? I'm very bad with names for the characters in this movie, other than Ethan. Which one's Max? Oh, the lady. Lady is the Max.
There you go, buddy.
There you go. The British lady.
There you go.
All right.
Max. Who's Vanessa? What's her name?
Vanessa
Something
Redgrave? No. Vanessa.
So her daughter is in Fallout.
Yeah, that still doesn't do anything.
So the arm stealer chick in Fallout, that's her daughter.
Yeah.
Like her character's daughter.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. Okay.
Also, another
They're
thing
really
too,
linking
is,
it.
you know when Tom goes to go meet Max and he has to put on that thing, and it's the long-haired guy that he meets with. That guy comes back in part 4. It's
Does
the same guy giving him the same mask.
Holy shit. I didn't know that.
Yeah,
This is all new.
it's all
brand new
connected.
information.
Like it's like the same syndicate, I
That's
guess.
crazy. Wait, so part 4. No, we don't know that other group that guy from number 5 has, right? Or
The Syndicate.
the Syndicate?
Right.
Okay.
What about him?
No, I'm just like, are they part of the Syndicate?
No.
Okay.
No. So basically, Max is an arms dealer, and that long-haired guy works for her.
Yeah.
And it's like a criminal network, like a European criminal network, and they return in part 4.
Yeah, he looks like a bad guy from Die Hard.
I think he is. So she came back, she was supposed to come back as that Bogdan character, but they couldn't get her because of money issues.
Oh, okay.
That's why Bogdan's his friend.
Now it's time to get her.
So then, in part 6, they tried to make up for it by making her have a daughter played by Vanessa Kirby.
Okay. That's cool. That's cool though.
Boom. So what do you got for 3?
3, I cheated a little bit. I went with the whole security system at Langley. I thought that was like just the way it was set up, the way it was kind of described by Tom Cruise in that whole scene on the train and everything, and
Wait,
the way
top
it was
3 badass characters?
Characters. I'm cheating.
So what's the character?
The security room itself.
That's not a character.
I'm cheating. I'm telling you.
All right, no, what I got for number 2. I'm moving on.
All right.
Not doing that. Number 2, I got Kittredge.
Okay. Go on. Why?
Well, you seem to be very upset. Kittredge, you've never seen me very upset. He's a good character actor. He's coming back, too. Coming back for 7 and 8.
Is he?
Yeah.
Okay, that's cool. That's exciting.
What do you got for 2?
Number 2, I have Ving Rhames.
Oh, I thought you were going to say like a box or something.
No, that's my number 1.
The knock disc.
Spoiler alert. Now, Ving Rhames, just first off, like his intro on the train, he looked like he just walked out of like Pulp Fiction as Marcellus Wallace. The way he, like the sunglasses, the dark sunglasses, and his suit and everything, and the way he was talking is like, "What the fuck you talking?"
He was supposed to die on that train.
Was he?
Yes.
Well, I'm so glad he didn't.
Yes. David Cope explained it. I guess during like a script reading.
Okay.
Ving Rhames is like, "Hey, why is a black guy gotta die?" He's like, "Well, your character dies. It just happens." He's like, "But why do they always have to die?" And David Cope's like, "All right, you live."
And now he's lived on and been the most recurring character.
He's actually my number 1, Luther Stickle.
Luther.
What's your number 1?
Stickle? Is that his actual last name?
Yep.
That's weird. Real. Number 1 for me is Jean Reno. I don't know his character name.
Jean Reno?
Jean Reno. Just well, he's like basically the most amazing helicopter pilot ever to like fly through a tunnel while you're attached with a cable. But just also his like the way he acts with his face, like everything with him is just facial reactions. Like he's the most badass French guy you could ever get.
What about the French guy from The Boys? Who's not even French?
Fuck that guy. I hate that guy.
Next up, we got top 3 badass moments. Number 3, I got Tom Cruise's magic trick with a knockless. He's like, "Oh, hey, oh, it's not here. Where is it? There it is."
Fucking magicians.
Love that guy.
Number 3 is Ethan on the train sequence. The initial right at the beginning where he kind of flips onto the train, does like this little cool flip with the speed and everything.
Nice.
Yep.
Number 2, I got the sweat catch during the Langley heist when the sweat falls off his glasses and he catches it in slow motion. Mm-hmm. Every time I watch it, I'm like,
number 2 for me is actually also on the train sequence, just Ethan letting go and then sliding into John Voight to kind of knock him off and then attach the cable from the helicopter onto
and he
the train.
screams at the helicopter.
Ah! I got you now, motherfucker.
Number 1, I got Tom escaping the restaurant, and the water is like all that tons of water is about to drop on his head, and he just narrowly misses it.
It's like
It's great.
that weird gallop.
Number 1.
All right. Number 1 for me is actually him hanging on the wire. Now that I know that he actually did it as well, it's pretty badass. Just you know how much core muscles it takes you to like.
How do you not know? It's a close up of his face.
I don't know. Well, you know, you never know with like special effects and everything.
There's a wide shot of him hanging.
Well, it's still badass. I'm just saying, like he's badass.
You thought it wasn't him?
No, I didn't know for sure. I was 90% sure. Now I'm 100% sure.
Okay.
Okay.
Next up, we got, has the action aged well?
Yes, it has.
Absolutely. Of course.
Absolutely. So we're going to talk about pretty much, we're going to go through the whole series, right? Yeah.
I do want to do an episode where we rank all the entire series.
Yeah, I do too.
How do you feel about him doing extreme sports with a motorcycle and parachuting?
Well, you got to see it in the movie. Like, watching it from the context of just behind the scenes stuff. Like, maybe it doesn't fit. Like, maybe they're going XXX kind of thing. But, you never know.
I feel like the only sequence that we've gotten that was similar to the ending of part 1 would have been him hang off the helicopter and fall out.
Oh, yeah.
It's weird how no one cares or talks about it, eh? Like, no one cares.
Yeah. I think it's just people don't realize how, like, the work and, like, everything that Tom Cruise put into that whole sequence. Like, not only just that sequence alone, but, like, flying the helicopter.
Well, that's what everybody talks about. Like, he flew the helicopter. Yeah,
but
that's
that
cool.
part, yeah. Like,
but
everything.
hanging outside, no one talks about that.
No. Everyone tries to focus on his personal life stuff. just look at his, like, resume and what he's doing. Oh my god,
it's pretty funny how on what of Scott Adkins' Art of Action episode where they were watching Super Cop where Jackie's fighting on the helicopter, like hang off the helicopter, then fighting on the train, and him and the co-host, they're both like, I bet you anything Jackie's watching or Tom Cruise is watching this right now. Then a few days later, you see Tom Cruise on a train, sitting there waving to people.
No
interesting.
Harness, everything.
Can't wait,
man.
All right, so that does it for this episode. Thanks for listening. We are out.
Bye.
Music for Athan and Action is done by Mason Tickle. If you like what you heard, please rate, review, subscribe, tell a friend. We'll be back. Till then, later.